What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And today I want to give you guys a quick market update as I'm unfortunately not able to go live tonight at our normal time of 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I figured I would make this pre-recorded market update and release it as a YouTube premiere so you guys can still hang out with the Candle Mafia in chat and kind of talk about what's going on in the markets as we go over this market update. Now, obviously, one big thing to remember here, guys, is tomorrow we do have the Fed meeting, so we are expecting some extreme volatility going into tomorrow. So I just want to do a big overview of what my thoughts on the market are overall, and then I want to kind of show you guys the DXY and the SPY and how we have confluence between all these things that are all kind of pointing in the same direction. And then we will jump down to those lower time frames and I'll give you guys those exact key levels that we need to be watching, and I'll also be showing you guys that line in the sand where if crossed, I'm gonna go ahead and flip bearish, because if you guys know, for the past few weeks we have been leaning slightly bullish as we've gotten this move to the upside. So I'm gonna show you what that level is where if we break it, that's it. All bets are off on flipping bearish. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to be showing you guys a couple of altcoin setups that might be looking like some real saucy trades here in the next couple of days. And I even leaked one of them in that Frankie Candles Discord, which is 100% free. If you're not in that Discord, definitely go ahead and check that link in the description down below and get in there. It's 100% free. I put my exclusive TA in there, and we have the whole Candle Mafia in there, a bunch of really good traders, good technical analysts, sharing their charts, sharing their trade ideas, and we get messages all the time. Thank you, Frankie Candles, for making your Discord. It has been invaluable in helping me on my journey to become a profitable trader. We get so many of these messages, and it's 100% free, no questions asked, so definitely go ahead and check that out if you're not already in there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the charts, guys. I'm going to give you my general sentiment on the market. We're going to talk about the SPY, the DXY, and then I'll show you those key levels that we need to watch and kind of give you guys a little bit of context of where Bitcoin is at this moment, and then we'll get into the trade setups. But before we get into it, guys, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of our great tutorials or urgent market updates like this that we upload to the channel. Let's get into it. So here we are on the Bitcoin daily chart. I mean, this is kind of weird. You guys are kind of in chat talking to each other, but I'm not live. I can't say what's up to the Mafia. Hey, chemistry, bro, what's going on? So this is kind of weird because you guys can talk, but I can't talk to you. It's like I'm behind a wall. You guys can't hear me. But anyway, guys, here we are on the Bitcoin daily chart. Now, obviously, the big news here, I mean, not big news, but we do have the confirmed red dot on Market Cipher B. This is something we've been looking at, waiting for this red dot to print so we can kind of anticipate a move to the downside. This is now confirmed, indicating that we could continue to see a move to the downside in the short term. Now, on top of that, you do have your 2-day VWAP coming down, your 3-day VWAP coming down. These higher daily time frames, a lot of them have the VWAP coming down, almost all of them, which is not uncommon after a big move to the upside. Obviously, these time frames have to cool off at some point, and we'll have to see how they play out. Are we kind of peaked out for this local pump that we've gotten, or is there still some gas in the tank and we just need to cool off a little bit before another leg up? And I'm going to try to break that down for you today, but all in all, red dot confirmed on the daily. More on the bearish side in the shorter term. Your 12 and 16 hours still in the green with your money flow generally flat here. Can't really see if that's going in or out. Coming up slightly on your 16 hour. And then on our 6 hour, you can see money flow pretty aggressively coming out here. This would be more of a bearish sign. And then your 5 hour and your 4 hour as well does have your money flow coming out to the downside. This all kind of points to a continued move to the downside with the money flow coming out on some of these hourly time frames, as well as the VWAP starting to roll over on the higher daily time frames and having that confirmed red dot. So I would have to say, until we get that daily to start rolling back over, looking to print a green dot, we would be expecting a continued further move to the downside. Now, another thing to take note of here is your lower time frames are also having your money flow generally coming to the downside. You're kind of binging and bonging around here, but you are generally coming out if you draw your trend line. Obviously, we are kind of making we are just kind of stair-stepping our way down. So I would have to say most things on Bitcoin specifically are kind of pointing in the sideways kind of direction for the near term. Now, just because we have money flow coming out and the red dot on the daily doesn't mean we have to immediately take a sharp dump to the downside, but we could just kind of consolidate. I would say maybe move sideways / bearish until we enter into that Fed meeting tomorrow, which I think is likely where we're going to see, Bitcoin kind of pick a direction and actually get a big move. But as of right now, definitely leaning sideways bearish on Bitcoin. And I do want to bring up the SPY real quick because we were talking about this yesterday and we are starting to see this play out. As you guys know, we were expecting this move up for the SPY, this most recent move up, because we had a bullish divergence forming on the weekly. This is a very rare bullish sign on such a high time frame. So we knew that once this green dot printed and confirmed, we would likely get a move to the upside here on the weekly for the SPY, and that is exactly what happened. Perfect call there. Was super happy we were able to see that. And where was our major level that we were looking to come up to was this purple box between about 386 and 390, and you can see we've come right up to that level and almost kissed 390 to the dollar. Now, the interesting development that we're having on this time frame is the bearish divergence on the 4-hour, right? Not only that, but we are coming into key resistance. A lot of the time, you guys know, if you start putting in bearish divergence at key resistance, it likely does result in a move to the downside. Now, we were talking about this yesterday as we were coming up and testing these levels. I said, look out for that 4-hour bearish divergence. This is key resistance, and if we bear div into that resistance, it is likely to get a move to the downside, and we see that starting right here. So again, this is confirmed and just starting. So this could also be in agreement with Bitcoin, kind of leaning in that sideways bearish sentiment. Now, not only that, but you also have money flow on your lower time frame starting to move out to the downside. So that is also a little bit more of a bearish sign. And you can see that your weekly VWAP could potentially be topping out here. Again, indicative of looks like it could possibly roll over here. We'll have to wait. These weekly candles take forever to print, obviously. So we'll have to wait. We have 3 days and 1 hour left to print another weekly candle. But just all in all, as we hit key resistance with the bear div, it would kind of give you more of a sideways bearish sentiment on the SPY, which obviously would be in agreement with Bitcoin. Now let's go ahead and check out that DXY and see if there's anything we can kind of take away from here. And starting off here on the daily for the DXY, just like Bitcoin has the confirmed red dot, you could see that the DXY has that confirmed green dot. Obviously, this moves inverse to Bitcoin, so that is likely to happen. But working our way down the time frames here, you can see we did get a money flow crossover into the green for the DXY, which would be a little bit more bearish for Bitcoin. And if you come down here, you can see we bounced off of this key level of support, kind of fought around with this gold box, and then came up, retested this, and we are now catching support. So the DXY is looks like it wants to kind of just range around here. But the main level that I'm watching on the DXY is right here at about 111,629. If we flip this to support, it likely would result in a bigger dump down for Bitcoin. And if you pull a local golden pocket from this high to this low, you can see we are kind of fighting with this local golden pocket, and it looks like we could potentially be holding it as support here. So if we break this level and flip this 111,629 to support, that is where I would expect somewhat of a dump down for Bitcoin, because that gives the DXY a little bit more room to ride up. And just one more thing to take note of here is that we have actually hopped back into our ascending channel here. As you can see, typically when we come to the bottom of this range, we get a move back to the top of the range, and then you can see we hit the bottom, got another move up to the top, another move to the bottom, lost it, came back up, flipped it to support, and then eventually retested, got another move a little higher. And then more recently, we did slip this and lose the support, but we have now come back in, flipped this to support, came back up, retested, and are continuing higher. So this would definitely be a little bit more of a bearish outlook for Bitcoin. So there you guys go. You could kind of see the SPY, the DXY, and Bitcoin are all in agreement that we could potentially see a further move to the downside. But again, this week is going to get very volatile with the Fed meeting coming up tomorrow. So you want to be really careful if you're out there trading. Set your stop losses super tight. Use good risk management and don't FOMO into any trades, because these last few meetings that we've seen volatility to the up and the downside. So if it was going down, it would kind of rip up and stop out all the shorts before getting a big move and picking a direction and continuing that way. So be very careful. These days can be very, very tricky to trade. So just be careful. If you're using leverage, keep it to a minimum and use good risk management as always. So that's kind of my general market sentiment at this point, guys. But now we are actually at some pretty interesting levels here on Bitcoin. So I do want to come down to the lower time frames and just kind of show you guys what levels I am watching currently and where that line in the sand is where I am going to be flipping bearish if we happen to break this level. So right now, obviously, we did put in this 4-hour bearish divergence. You could see that right here. We talked about this high, higher high, low, lower high. Boom, that started our move down here. But we are actually coming up to some interesting levels. Now, you can see we did catch beautiful support 3 times here on this spider line that gets pretty close to 20K at this point. If we do come down to it, it's going to be a little closer to about 20,100. So this would be level number 1 that I am looking to hold to remain bullish. If we are going to get a continued move to the upside, this would be one of the major levels I'd look to hold. Number 1, it's a psychological level of support, so that should make it pretty strong. It's also a spider line, and we all know the spider lines are heavily respected. Now, not only is this 20K a psychological level and a spider line, but it's also a local value area high. If you pull right after this big pump and dump scam that happened back here in September, if we come after that price action and pull a local volume profile here, you can see that we came down and tapped this value area high as well. So we do have a decent bit of confluence here, being that the local value area high, the spider line, and that psychological level of support. Now, not only do you have all of that confluence, but you also have a local golden pocket right at this level as well. If you pull it from these lows to this high here, you can see we do have a local golden pocket coming in right underneath these levels, which would also likely act as support. So these are the main levels I am looking to hold as support. If price gets pushed down to these levels and we are getting strong bullish confirmations on Market Cipher B, this might be a good place to start looking for longs. But like I said, we could get a bigger move to the downside if we lose those levels. The major levels that I am looking at, where the major line in the sand is, would be if we come back down to revisit this value area high at about 19.6. And we also do have this level here between about 19.8 and 19.760. If we come down and we start to flirt with these levels and we decisively lose 19.6, we will be breaking into this smaller range that we were trading in. And once we break down and bearishly retest this value area high, it will be likely to come down and test that POC at about 19.150. And if we break that, it will even be likely to come back down to revisit our range lows or this value area low coming in at about 18,960. And nobody wants to go back down to that range that we traded in for what felt like forever. So guys, as we approach this Fed meeting tomorrow, kind of my trading plan is to hold my Ethereum short that I am currently in right now. Hopefully we can get another move to the downside. As soon as I get that further into profit, I will lock in some gains, move my stop loss to my entry, because I don't want to risk going into the red, because we are in that Femex trading competition and the CandleMafia is going to go ahead and take that trophy home. So once that, if we can get that further move to the downside, I will take profit on my ETH short and move my stop loss to my entry, making it a risk-free 100% winning trade. And the first level I will start looking for longs is going to be at this local golden pocket spider line, local value area low, and all that confluence, making this such a key level. So that first level I am going to be looking for longs will be if we get a move back down into these levels. This is where I will start looking for those bullish confirmations. But again, if we break those levels, I would like to see a further move to the downside, closer down to that 19.8, 19.6 level. And you can just see that if you grab a box here, you can see that we were rejected right here around that 19.8 level. And, you know, we do have that little range, right? So you have these highs here at about 19.8, and then those next highs do come in at that 19.6 level, again, breaking us back into that smaller value area that we were trading in. So that's kind of where I get these levels from. But, you know, if if we break down below these levels and we come down and test that 19.6 level, this could be where we actually wind up getting a big bounce to the upside. So if we come down here to this 19.8 to 19.6 level, this is really where I would like to see price come to. If I see bullish confirmations there, that's really where I'm looking to get into some long positions. And if we do come down to there, that is really where I'm going to be looking to get some long positions, because if we come up to a higher time frame here, just to kind of show you guys on the daily, let's get rid of this TA. You can see that if we do actually get a big move to the downside off of that daily red dot amongst all the other bearish confirmations, if we do come back down and we do actually get a big move down to that 19.6 level and get a big bounce, you can see that would help. We would be able to remain in bullish market structure with a low and then a higher low to then come up and make a potential higher high. This would maintain that bullish market structure on the higher time frames. So that is kind of that is why that is kind of the line in the sand. Not only would you break into that lower value area that could drag us back down to the range lows, but if we bounce off that 19.6 level, we could maintain that higher low on the higher time frames, which would keep the bullish market structure for Bitcoin. Now, you guys stuck around till the end of the video, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the altcoin setups that I was talking about in the beginning of the video. And number one is going to be Solana. Now, as you guys know, on the live stream and in the Discord, I was talking about how Solana was actually looking pretty bearish as it approached into this key level of resistance, putting in bearish divergence with your higher highs on your price action right into that resistance level of about 33.78 with your lower highs on market cipher B. As you can see, just stair-stepping your way down on momentum, showing that momentum is moving to the downside with price action coming up, showing an imbalance in price, therefore warranting a correction in price, which is how you're able to catch these moves to the downside off of these bear divs. Now, you can see this is actually starting to play out. We've already come down about 5-6% if you go wick to wick. You can see about 6.5% down from this level, from this wick up here. So it is starting to play out. However, if we go ahead and turn on market cipher A, you can see we now have a confirmed blood diamond on the 4-hour, just adding to that downward pressure. So it's just something to keep an eye on. Shout out to anybody in the trading competition in the Discord that saw this call when it was forming. Hopefully, this is part of the reason why we are in the top 3 for this competition. Now, our second altcoin setup that I want to show you guys is a popular one, especially right now, and that is going to be Dogecoin. Now, Doge is obviously getting a mega move to the upside. It hit both of our targets here. That purple box was target number 1, rejection. Purple box, target number 2. If we come down to a lower time frame, you could see we hit that target perfectly, rejected, and then came right up to that value area high. As you can see, the volume profile called it again. We were at our value area low, held the POC. We knew the next likely spot was going to be that value area high, and we came right up there. But as you can see on the higher time frames for Dogecoin, guys, if I remove the TA, you can just see that we are starting to put bearish divergence in on the higher time frames, such as the 4-hour, as you can see right here. Lower highs on your momentum waves with higher highs on price. This is a bearish divergence on the 4-hour. This is confirmed. Your money flow is starting to roll over. And if you creep your way up to the 5 and the 6-hour time frame, you are even printing this bearish divergence on the 6-hour. Now, obviously, this is very tied to Elon Musk's acquisition of Twitter. So sometimes when you see setups like this, if more bullish news comes out or Elon decides to do something crazy with Dogecoin, understand that the news can completely step on this TA. But on a technical level, it is setting up with some pretty nasty bearish divergences on some pretty high hourly time frames, which is very probable to get a move to the downside. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. For anyone looking for shorts, Dogecoin could be setting up to top out here. And you can see here, there is a we are actually coming up to a local golden pocket. So that would be a decent level of resistance for Dogecoin. And we actually do have a naked point of control up in these levels as well. And if we go ahead and pull up that VPVR, we can kind of take a zoomed out look at where the volume is traded. Now you can see here the macro, if you look at this macro range or this macro volume profile, you can see we were at the value area low, got on top of the POC, launched up to the next high volume node, which is right here with a massive gap, which could be one of the big reasons we got that quick move up. It's another reason why we were able to set those targets so accurately. Part of that was because of this volume gap, but you could see you hold support on the POC, shoot right up to your next high volume node, and then we also do have another gap right here, as you can see, all the way up to our value area high. Now, the fact that we got support on the POC, our next likely stop would be that value area high. And I'm not saying we can't get there, especially with all the stuff going on with Twitter right now and Elon Musk. But even if we do get that move up, I do think it's probably likely to cool off a little bit here before we get that next move up. But again, this value area high is coming in at 26 cents. So it's a pretty far reach at this point. But again, don't put anything past Elon Musk. But with those higher hourly timeframes showing that bear div at that naked point of control, as well as the local golden pocket, and you have that high volume node here, there are some reasons for this to come down on a technical level. Just be careful, again, just because news can sometimes step on that TA when you have something crazy like Elon Musk acquiring Twitter and, looking to incorporate Dogecoin into Twitter. And then just quick honorable mention here, guys, our Matic short here that we called in the Discord a long time ago. We were looking at this all the way back here. As you can see, possible rejection point, that 786 fib level, all the way on October 26th, you can see this actually has played out pretty well. Obviously, it was a little bit of a bumpy ride, but this is pretty deep in profit at this point. Now, I actually did get stopped out of this trade, but for anybody still hanging on to this short position that we called in the Discord for the CandleMafia for 100% free is actually playing out pretty nicely. So shout out to the CandleMafia and anyone who was able to catch that information and make good use of it. So with all that being said, guys, I think that's all the time I have for this market update. Again, I apologize. I wasn't unable to go live tonight, but hopefully you guys have fun with this little YouTube premiere. I'm sure you guys are going crazy in chat. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And with all that being said, that's all I got for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Frankie Candles out.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the